I have to say it's a real privilege to be here this afternoon and to speak to this conference. The title of the conference is very interesting, Connecting Dots, Enterprise, Entrepreneurship, and Sustainable Development. It is obviously a very key topic for where we are in Jamaica today. And it's not just Jamaica, but I think it actually is applicable to a lot of the different nations that we have in the Caribbean who are facing similar issues where our debt structure is considerable and we have very little fiscal space in which to grow ourselves out of debt to GDPs that are very, very high. And that affects enterprise and businesses in many different ways. But today I'm going to mostly talk about Jamaica, partly because we're in Jamaica, but also because I think Jamaica is really at a crossroads. And it's very interesting to see what is happening here because not only are we at the end of one IMF agreement, but I think very shortly, and I think today the IMF are approving our next IMF agreement, that we're going to be in a second IMF agreement. And that's very interesting because you can look around in Jamaica and what you see is a country that all of you see here that has vast potential. And all of us see it, all of us talk about it. But Minna refers back to meeting my grandfather, 20 odd years ago. I actually started work then as well, and I think I probably met you at a similar time. And we've all been talking literally about the potential of Jamaica for my entire working life. And I would go so far as to say that probably the generation in business before me also were talking about the potential of Jamaica. And the generation before that were talking about the potential after independence. And clearly, when you look at an average growth rate of 0.8% over 40 years and 0.2% over the last 10, we've failed in living up to anywhere close to our potential. And we don't really have anyone to blame but ourselves. Because in Jamaica, and all of us have heard and been exposed to this, we've had many, many studies. Many things have been talked about. And all of us, when we're talking about the potential, we probably relate to the things that we need to do. But we have had a massive execution gap in what we just have failed to implement the things that needed to be done in order to grow our economy. Now, what is very interesting, we're just coming through 4 years of fiscal discipline, and you can feel there's a lot of positivism in Jamaica right now. Our last quarter results, we had 2.3% growth. That's fantastic. Agriculture grew by 28%. And, if you think about it, and this is very strange, there are 250,000 registered farmers in Jamaica. That's the same amount of registered farmers that there is in the United States. So, we are fairly reliant upon it. The definition of farmer, obviously, is probably a little generous here in Jamaica, but the reality is it does indicate to you how reliant we are on agriculture. And it's very important that we address the need to grow the economy in a very aggressive and serious manner. There are other good things that are happening right now in Jamaica. The inflation rate, who would believe the inflation rate is 2%? In my lifetime, I never could conceive that the inflation rate would be at 2%. The fiscal numbers are very impressive. The revenue numbers are very impressive. We're beating our targets. This is all good news. And it's incredible news given that we've had effectively 40 years of poor fiscal management, and we've recently had 4 years of good fiscal management. You know, one of the issues is sometimes we have short memory and we think 4 years of fiscal management can substitute 40 years of poor management.